Okay. So in this module, we are covering foundations for programming, uh, which is, as we move along with different sessions within this course, you will understand, okay, a lot of the things we can do using Portal today, the same thing we can do using PowerShell and CLI and ARM templates as well. So what we have covered as part of this module so far, I'll just go and take an overview of that. So we have covered, PowerShell. Uh, not this one. I think there is part one. Yeah, let me go start from here. Okay, PowerShell. So the basics and the foundations of PowerShell, how do it started, and on which language it is been built. What are the features of PowerShell? So high level, like it uses command, just like a command prompt we have today in Windows 10 operating system. Similar experience you would see in PowerShell as well, but it is more advanced. Now PowerShell is usually used by system administrator to manage any activities on Windows servers. Could be managing certificates, it could be managing the servers themselves. So you have the ability in the PowerShell to go and remotely manage all these activities. So then we went through how the PowerShell commands are structured today and different help options we have. If we are starting our journey on PowerShell today, then how we can learn different commandlets within PowerShell. So that is where the help command becomes very powerful. We went through certain commandlets which will help you get started quickly on learning these commandlets. For example, uh, get help detailed, which will give you detailed uh, documentation on that particular commandlet. Then you can actually get an help on a specific parameter as well. This is again a useful help. Like you, most of the times we do understand the documentation, but we struggle in getting started with that commandlets in terms of what parameters and what values should I pass, what kind of values each parameter accepts, whether it's a string or it's an integer or it's some enumerator. So that is where get help examples will help you a lot. So we looked at this with respect to the Azure uh, commandlets. So for example, if I go today in my Azure portal, I can use Azure Cloud Shell to run my PowerShell commands within the browser itself. So Cloud Shell is a feature in Azure portal which will help you run PowerShell commands and Bash commands. So Bash is a shell scripting language for Linux today. So you can use either PowerShell or Bash here. So what it's doing is, as I clicked on this icon, Cloud Shell, it's setting up the environment for me to run PowerShell commands. So it will have the context because I'm logged into my Azure account using the credentials. So it is trying to set up that same context in the PowerShell itself. So here I don't have to go and say log in again to my Azure portal. So it's already authenticated me behind the scenes and the context is all set up now. I can start using the PowerShell commands here. So one of the in our first session we did look at how we can create Azure resource group using PowerShell command. If we don't know that command, for example, if we don't know any of the Azure commands, we can just discover those commands using get command. And we have two options here, noun or verb. Let's go with noun, and let's search with something called resource group. So I don't know any command, PowerShell command related to resource group in Azure. I can simply type this command and get that list. See, it will give me all the commands which are related to resource group. So export, get Azure RM resource group. And if you see this new remove, so the same set of commands are getting repeated here as well. Export, get, new, remove, set. So there are two versions of the same command are available today. One is called as Azure RM, which is the older one. The new one that Microsoft is continuously updating is AZ module. So Azure RM and AZ. These are the two versions of the same commands. So what we will use in our going forward in this course would be the AZ commandlet, because that is the one that Microsoft will be updating, and it recommends us to use this latest one. So this is the command to get a resource group. This is to create a new resource group. This is to remove the existing resource group. This is to get that Azure resource group object. So if you want an examples, right, how do you use this command? So we can use get help, then type the name of the command, which is, let's say, get AZ resource group, or let's say new AZ. We'll want to create that new AZ resource group, and we'll type the examples here. So what it will do is it will give me the list of sample commands along with the parameters which are mandatory. So this is one way you can use this command, new AZ resource group, then pass in the name of the resource group and the location in which you want to create this resource group. If there are additional examples available, those again will be listed here. So example 2 here, create an empty resource group using positional parameters. Then there is create a resource group with tags as well. So this is how you can discover different commands and learn those commands in PowerShell itself. You don't need to navigate anywhere else. So this we already looked into, and then we also looked into how we can connect to Azure using our I mean, this is already connected, but if we are working in our Windows PowerShell, which is in our on our system, then we need to provide the context of our Azure to this PowerShell session. For that, we need to first log into our Azure uh, subscription. So to do that, we have to use a command called, where is it? Sorry, not here. Let me close this 1 minute. We have to use a command called connect -ac account. So that way it will ask you for credentials, and then you log in, and then the context how it is set up today in Cloud Shell, the same context will be set up in your local Windows PowerShell as well. So this is all recorded in a session for Srikanth and Hali. If you just go through that recording sessions, and if you have any doubts or you still need clarification, I can actually schedule another 1 hour call with both of you, and we can go through those clarification questions there. So last session we came till, okay, we completed these PowerShell loops as well, the conditional statements. So these things, right, the loops and conditional statements, if you have any programming, any basic programming understanding as well, the same concepts apply here with the PowerShell as well. Only thing that would differ is certain change in commandlets, in syntax. For example, here, if you're familiar with if statement, which is a conditional statement, uh, the same applies here. The only thing is here you would give less than character, like instead of here, let's say x is less than 20, so you use this syntax in some programming languages, but here it would be -lt, which denotes less than character. le, sorry, not that. Yeah. So yeah, so this we went through. Then we went through one PowerShell script to create a virtual machine using PowerShell. So this is the PowerShell script we went through. It's a complex one. We went through each command, what it does, how do we construct different resources using these commandlets, and how do we integrate all of it as well using pipeline here, pipeline characters. We create this VM config, and once that configuration is created, we pass that VM configuration to new AC command, which will go and create the Azure virtual machine in our subscription. Again, this is all explained in that recording, so you should see it. Okay, and then we went how we can achieve the same, creating Azure Virtual Machine using Azure CLI instead of PowerShell. Now, Azure CLI is a bash. It uses bash, Linux bash shell. Uh, so we used this script to create our virtual machine. Okay, and then we set up one
Vishnu,
web server.
I'm sorry to disturb you. Just a small question.
Yeah, Shrikant.
See, thing is that you said PowerShell using creating, I mean, using PowerShell you're creating VM, right?
Yeah.
In this command. So in Azure, we get basic commands in templates, right? Even for PowerShell.
There are certain repositories, GitHub. If you go to GitHub, there are
GitHub,
repositories where you can go and find these commandlets. And you don't have to create it from scratch, right? Even the Microsoft
yes,
documentation will provide you that basic skeleton or the basic
yes,
script.
yes.
Now you can go use and edit that. Now, why did I go through this PowerShell script? Is
But,
to make you understand what each command is actually doing, how it is constructed, what parameters it is passing. How do you create the PowerShell script in general, not specific to Azure, but in general, how you create PowerShell script.
okay,
Okay, so yeah, these commands will already be there with all the examples. Even in fact, you look at here itself, right? The get command and the get help, you will get those examples here for each individual command. But then you have to stitch all these individual commands in a sequence to create your Azure VM. Again, for that also you will have some something in the repository. But to make modifications into that script, you need to understand the script, what it is doing from top to bottom in the sequence, and what each command is doing,
exactly.
right? Most of the times you will end up taking these templates and then modifying it to create the PowerShell script specific to your requirements.
Okay,
Yeah, but you are right, Shrikant. Actually, a lot of templates are already available in the web. You don't have to create it from the scratch. Same way, CLI also it is available, but mostly people in organization use PowerShell uh, for automation. CLI, I've rarely seen anyone using it as part of DevOps pipeline. Also, you would see PowerShell being used everywhere. Other than PowerShell, we have options like ARM templates today to deploy or provision Azure resources, like we do it in Azure portal. As again Shrikant pointed out, okay, there are a lot of templates available, which you can not only templates. In fact, those are actual scripts that you can use to deploy Azure resources. I've given this link. Okay, there are a lot of quick start templates. If you go, this is for ARM templates, by the way, not for PowerShell. ARM templates are a little bit more complex than the PowerShell. You have to understand the structure, and it needs to. I mean, there is no good editor that you can go like you can discover commands in PowerShell using help commands, but here you need to read the documentation and discover those commands and structure of the Azure ARM templates. So let me take you this. So this is the repository. This repository is again maintained by the Azure platform team, and so here you will see a lot of public contribution as well. This is on GitHub open source. If you have any specific template that is not available here and you create one tomorrow, you can share that here as well. So there is a standard and a structure how you distribute your template here. So here we can search for templates related to virtual machine. So let me scroll through here. If we can type virtual machine, there are a lot of that. Yeah, VM simple Linux, right? So you can create a simple Linux VM here. You can create a Red Hat Enterprise Linux VM here using this template. So if you just look into this, This for Linux, um, Azure deploy.json. So this is an ARM template. Okay, this is how the ARM template is structured. And yeah, before we actually dive into this, let's understand the structure of the ARM template, how we can write ARM templates. The basic structure we need to understand before we jump into that. So this is the format for ARM template. It's pretty simple. I mean, what would you need to create an ARM template? So let's try understanding it very see. You need to specify the list of resources that you want to create in Azure. So that could be VM, or it could be storage, it could be virtual network. Okay. And then you need to, for each resource, you need to specify the configuration. Now, when I say configuration is basically list of parameters, right, that it needs. Like for VM, you would need to specify the name, the location of the VM, the size of the VM, the operating system, and all those. So this becomes parameters for each resource. Then this is one. And these parameters, if it is common, you can actually define at a higher level here itself. So there is a parameter list you can create, global parameter list, which you can use across different resources. So location is something which you would see common across different resources. So you can define that location here itself and then use that as a parameter when you are creating that resource. Yeah. Then there are some variables. So you can use certain variables instead of hard coding the values. And those variables, you can use it in different part of your ARM template. Then it will give outputs. So these are all the inputs. So it will also give you an output. So what output you want to give as part of your own ARM template after it gets deployed. So let's say for VM creation, I want to output the name of the VM. Okay, VM that I've created. So this output things you can create here. Then what else you would need to? So these are, once, and there is something called as functions. Now, if you understand if you have any basic, again, the programming language, the same concept apply here. Functions are reusable piece of code that you can create once and reuse in different parts of your program or scripts. So similar thing applies here. If you have any uh, complex, if you have any repeatable operations that you perform, that repeatable operations, you can group that under function and you call that function in different places to get that operation done. That is functions here. And the other is basically what you see here is this is what you've seen: parameters you apply here, variables, functions, resources, and outputs. It's a flat structure. Other than this, what you see, this is metadata, basically saying which schema you are using for the ARM template. uh, and this is at your own disposable. You can version your ARM templates. So initially you would have something 00, and then you can increment. If you're updating your ARM template on regular basis, you can increment this version to differentiate between different uh, versions of your ARM templates. Then you have API profile. So which API version you want to be used while deploying your resources. This is the basic structure. Okay, I hope you are clear with this. So let's look at the concrete example now here. So the schema, this is going to be standard. If the schema gets updated tomorrow, the only thing that would change is the version of that schema here. So the latest version that is available today is 2019-401. Content version, this is up to you, whatever you define. Parameters. So this is a script to create a VM, simple Linux VM. So what parameters would you normally give? The VM name, because this is the same parameter list. If you see in the Azure portal, if you go through, just close down and go through virtual machine creation experience here. So here you're giving this virtual machine name, right? This is one parameter. So that is what it is. In the ARM template, you would denote that as VM name. Now you can name it the way you want it. Not necessarily VM name. You can specify any other name also. Like you can specify full virtual machine as a text there instead of just VM. This is up to you. Then what type of that parameter is. So ideally VM name would be string. So you provide that as a string. Then default value. So these parameters, when you deploy this ARM template, right, this parameter values, it will ask you when you deploy this ARM template, it will ask you these parameters. If you provide that value, that is the value which will be used to provision your VM. If you don't provide any value, then it will use this default value which is there as the name of the VM. Then if there is any comments you want to add for that particular parameter, so this you can use metadata tag and then add a description under that. So uh, this will be so when you are actually deploying, you want to understand what that parameter does, what value you want to provide. So when you hover over that parameter value, you can actually see this text there. You will actually go through this experience when you are deploying using ARM template and see how this text appears there. So VM name is one parameter. Likewise, you define all other parameters which are required for creating your virtual machine. The username, again, if you come back here, the username, in case of Linux, it would be public key you need to create. Then authentication type. Uh, Authentication type by default, let's say it will use password. Then allowed values are either password or SSH public key. Let's say we use password, then we need to provide that password. Then admin password or key. Again, this is for the, if you choose SSH public key, then you need to provide this password or key. Uh, DNS label prefix. So this is another parameter, unique DNS name for the public IP. So we have actually gone through the different resources you would need to create a virtual machine. Public IP is one such resource. So once the virtual machine is created, you want to access that virtual machine from your desktop or laptop, right? So since your virtual machine is created in the public cloud, which is again available on the internet, so you need some public IP to access that virtual machine. So you have to create this public IP resource. So to when you create that resource, you need to give certain name. So that is DNS label prefix is what it is saying. Uh, which OS version you want to use, the location, the VM size, the virtual network under which your virtual machine will be deployed, the subnet name under which subnet under the subnet under your virtual network where your VM will reside. The network security group. This is used for defining the traffic, which traffic is allowed to your virtual machine and which traffic is not allowed. So you need to enable the RDP in case of Windows Server, or you need to enable the SSH traffic in case of Linux virtual machines. So these are all the variables which will capture those values, and then sorry, not variables, parameters. So this is where you are just defining the parameters and providing any default values. So this is all the list of parameters you would need for deploying virtual machine using this template. Now coming to the variables. So you have different variables like name of the network interface, the address prefix of your virtual network and the subnet, the Linux configuration. We will actually see, again, this is a list of variables which are defined here. It is not used as of now, it is just defined here. These variables we will use in the resources here when we are creating the actual resources. So this is the section where we are going to define which resources we want to create. So the first is a network interface. So you need a network interface card to allow your VM to connect to the network and communicate with your network. So that you are creating this resource type. Type is Microsoft.network/network interfaces. Name. So name here where you are using the variables that you have created here. So the variable how you use, there is a specific syntax. The name is the parameter which is needed to create this network interface, and you are passing that as a variable. So variable name. So if you are using variables, then you have to pass this like this. So let me just write it down here. First, you specify this brackets as you see. Okay. So ideally, how would you provide if it was not variable? You would provide the name of the network interface like network interface one. This is the name without parameters. So name colon this. Now I don't want to hard code this value. I want this something to be variable. So instead of providing this hard coded value, if I want to turn this into variable, I need to define that variable first. So that variable is already defined here in network interface name. So I just have to use that here now. To use that, I just need to provide here this, and then the variable. This is the keyword which we need to use. These variables, I guess. We go here. Yeah, it is variables, and then you in the brackets provide the name of it, just like calling a function. When you call a function, so consider this as a function which is available in ARM template variables, and this function will allow you to use the variables. You need to pass the name of the variable here, the name of the variable, whatever it is. Like we have created some variable name here. Let's say location. Okay, so this is how you pass the this is how you use variables. Okay, so this part is would already be there. The codes would be there. This is how you define JSON, basically key value pair within JSON. The key is name, the value would be something. So instead of that value, you are using variables. So the variable needs to be defined within these square brackets, and then use this function variables and pass the value of the variable name here under single quotes. So that is how it is, variables and the variable name, network interface name, and this has to match. So what ARM template will do is it will see, okay, this is a variable and this is the name of the variable. It will go back and refer to this variable, and at the runtime, whatever is the value in here, it will replace that value here, name. So this if you see this variable, how it has been defined, this is again defined as it is using the parameters here. The variable itself is using a parameter called network VM name. It is using VM name, I guess, where it is. This one, VM name. Okay, so this how again is the same way to even use the parameters. It is the same way. So you use parameters like, so if I have to use parameters, I have to use these brackets, then say parameters, and then in these brackets, I need to specify the value of the parameter. In this case, it would be VM name, like this. Okay, so what you see here is the concat. Now concat is a function which is available it's a pre-built function. It's not something that you are going to define. Pre-built function which is available within ARM templates that you can use. This function, what it does, it allows you to stick together two different strings. What I mean by that is, let's say if I have two values, Vishwanath and my surname, these are two different strings and I want to bring them together, then I can use concat. So if you have used Excel, any formulas like concat formula, it does the same thing here. It basically joins the two different strings. So that is what it is used here. So again, any command that you want to use in an ARM template, you provide these brackets and then say concat. Okay, I need to pass two values here. So concat, what you need to pass? Let's say I will pass Vishwanath and my name. Yes, then it will do that concatenation of these two. So that is how it is done here. If you see this structure here, okay. So instead of this hard-coded value, I am passing the parameters here, and this is the string. This is hard-coded string here, public IP. So this is how you can use parameters in your ARM templates. Okay, so instead of so what they have done in this template is, instead of providing name for each of these resources like public IP network interface, they have actually used VM name as a prefix for all these resource names. and then they have just appended the resource type it is. So it will, if you give VM name as ABC, then the public IP would be named as ABC public IP. Then you will see network interface would be named as ABC network interface. Are you able to follow till here? I hope I'm not rushing through here. Hello?
Yeah, I'm following you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so you have parameters, you have variables. We know how to use those parameter within the ARM template. We know how to use the variables and the resources here. So where were we? Here, name. Okay, so this is how the name will be constructed for this network interface card using a variable, and variable in turn will use the parameter. Then for location, we are using parameters location here, and this resource network interface type. In fact, in one of our session, we did discuss about ARM template being an idempotent, and it can orchestrate creation of different resources. So this is how it does it. Basically, it uses depends on the orchestration is done using this keyword. Basically, what it tells is now to create a virtual machine today, you need to have this network interface card before. And to create the network interface card, also you need to have certain resources pre-created. Only then you can use network interfaces. For example, you need to have the virtual network. You need to have the public IP address. You need to have the network security groups. Uh, Only if you have them, you can go and create a network interface, because network interface would need a public IP to allow virtual machine to be accessed on the internet. It would need network interface would need a network uh, so that virtual machine can communicate on that network. It would need the rules, the firewall rules, what traffic to allow, what traffic not to allow. So that is done using network security groups. This is all is defined here. So depends on what it will do is when the Azure sees, okay, depends on is there for this resource, it will not create this resource until the depends on resources are created first. So it will first create public IP, then it will create virtual network and network security group. And once those are created, then it will come back and then create this network interface. This is how you orchestrate the creation of resources. So if there is any dependencies, you can handle that using this. Right. So that is depends on, and so each resources you already find name, location. Then there are certain configurations you need to provide, like for network interface, you need to provide the IP configurations, whether it would be a static or a dynamic. Then, like for example, here it is specifying private IP allocation method. It would be dynamic. That means the IP address which would be assigned to your virtual machine would be dynamic. It won't be static. So when I say dynamic, let's say you created a virtual machine today and it assigned a IP address of X. Tomorrow you shut down that virtual machine and then again bring that up. Then the IP address that gets allocated to that VM would be different. Could be different. It could be same or different, but it will be different. It will be dynamic. That's what I'm trying to say. So the same IP address you might or might not get. So that is up to the DHCP. The DHCP will decide what IP address to give it to it, because it is dynamic. You specify. If you specify this as static, then the IP address will remain same even though you restart or shut down or against any number of times. It doesn't matter. It will reserve that IP address for that virtual machine. So this is how you specify. Yeah. So the structure we need to understand. Just like when we look at PowerShell command, we need to understand what parameters it takes. How do I provide value to those parameters? A similar way, in ARM template, we need to understand what are the different parameters and how do I provide values to those different parameters. So this is all JSON. If you understand JSON, then you will understand this structure and hierarchy. And if you understand the hierarchy of resources, then you will understand, what values should I use under depends on. Okay, this is a bit complex virtual machine. I'm taking this because we will have then overall uh, understanding of what are different things that goes into creating ARM templates. Okay, so we have network security group. We'll not go into that much detail. We will slowly go in another session each of those details. But at high level, what I wanted to convey is the resources is where you go and define all your resources. Variables is where you go and define all your variables. Parameters section is where you go and define all your parameters. So out of these three, resources is something which will differ. Okay, the structure of these resources will differ depending upon the type of resources you are going to create, because each type of resource will demand different set of parameters, different set of configurations, different set of properties. So accordingly, the list will vary here. But once you know, okay, these are the parameters for this virtual machine, so and you have gone through that, so that list pretty much will remain static. So next time you go create virtual machine, it will be still be the same. Only thing that would differ is the values that you give for those each parameters. Right. So this is again, this is a virtual network we create. This is where we are creating public IP address, and at the very end we will see the outputs. So this section, as we talked about, will give the output when the provisioning is done, when the deployment is done using this ARM template. We need, if you want to give some output out of this ARM template to the user, you can define that output here. So it will give three outputs: username and the host name. Host name is basically the public IP address. What you're giving is the public IP address name here, and then the SSH command that you can use to connect to this virtual machine. So these are the three outputs that you will get when you deploy this virtual machine using this ARM template. Okay, so we can actually go and deploy this now and see how it looks like. There should be some, let me sign in. So which was that template? VM, Control F, VM. Simple Linux VM. Yeah. See, once I sign in into the GitHub account, it gives me this option deploy to Azure. So I can use this. If I click on this, it will ask me to log into my Azure subscription account, and then uh, once it has that, once I successfully log in, it will have the context of my Azure subscription. Then it will go and deploy this VM in that in my subscription. So I can just click on deploy to Azure here. this is the image. Interesting. There's something not working. It's like it's giving me the image instead of taking me to the Azure sign in page. Let me run this on Chrome browser. Let's see what's happening. Okay, sign in. Okay, I think it's not working. So what we will do is we'll deploy this in Azure itself. So we can go and create templates. We have templates here. So you can save ARM templates in your Azure subscription itself. So if you just type templates here, you will get an option called as templates under services. You click on here. You have this. So I don't have any template right now, but I can go and create a template, ARM template. So if I just click on here, and what we will do is we will go to this. We will say create simple Linux VM, and the same thing will copy here as a description, and then we'll add that ARM template here. So okay, it doesn't accept spaces Linux VM. Okay. So here we see it's asking for the template here, so we can provide this template. Let's see, we can use this. Yeah, we'll use this. We'll copy this. We can download it. Okay, so this is one way of creating ARM template here. Just press OK. Template added, and then we'll say click on add. Template saved. If we refresh, we should see that. Okay, so let's go and then okay, let's click on deploy. Let's see what happens. Okay, so here you see uh, so admin username, the VM name. So see, these are all the values that we provided in the template. So that template is now translated into an UI here, right? And all the parameters that we asked for, and if there are any default values for those parameters are listed out here, and the default values, or if there is any, it will be populated here for us. So location, it took that location because that is a default location that is set in our my Azure account, and the subscription is the default subscription. Since I have only one subscription in my directory, so it chose this. And the resource group, I can create new. Let me put this, okay, the ARM resource group. Okay, and simple Linux VM, we'll put it as one. Admin username, we'll put as Azure user. And authentication type default we set password, so let's stick with that. We'll provide the password here. We need to provide some complex password. We provide that. And DNS label prefix. So this is so this we will give the name. Let's say this is VM public IP. Ubuntu version, okay, that is fine. Resource group location, you take it from here, the resource group one. The size, it's fine. Virtual network name, subnet, security group name. These are all the values from our ARM templates as well. Now I just need to click and this agree to this terms and condition and say purchase. Let's see if it gets created. Uh, okay, I think it is deploying it. So till the time it runs, here if you see these ARM templates, we don't have to again create it from the scratch, all this JSON text. So this will be this we can auto generate it as per our own requirement as well, or we can use this templates repository which is available on the GitHub. So to auto generate as per our own requirement, what we can do, is create a virtual machine based on our requirements. And then if you have any already virtual machines, I don't have one, like, so let me switch to my other account. Looks like the deployment failed. That's fine. We'll look into that later. Let me walk you through how do we get the customized ARM templates based on our own requirements. Now, this is all good to understand things like what all these different sections of ARM templates do, and where do I need to, if I have to edit these, where do I need to go and edit in which section. For example, if I want to edit the name of the VM, so this is where, the name of the network interface name, this is where I need to look into. This is good in understanding from that perspective, but you don't have to recreate this everything. So we will look at, okay, this, I have certain virtual machines here, like for example here. So this is one Windows virtual machine. Here, if we go and select an option export template, now this option export template, this is nothing but ARM template only, but this option is available for all ARM resources within Azure today. So all the ARM resources that you create, almost all the resources that you create except for few classic resources, you will get this option export template, and using that option you can create ARM templates. So this is the template for my virtual machine. So this is I have created in the Azure portal using the UI here. Once it is created, it will give me this option export template. I can use that, and I can save this template as well in the library. So when I save, add this to library, let me say this is my custom VM ARM template. Yeah, I can then save this ARM template here. So this will be available under, again, it will have the same set of parameters, right? So the structure, the schema, content version, parameter, list of parameters, the variables, there are no variables here. So resources for the virtual machine, same set of resources again, you would see here. And there is no output that is getting out of this ARM template. So there is no output section here. So now when I have saved this to my library, so to go to that library, I just need to type templates here. Under templates, I would see that my custom VM ARM template. So this is what we save now. Now if you go here and deploy, click on deploy again. So it will, based on what parameters we are asking for, it will ask for those parameters here. Now this is not, this is again the same experience that we went through with the GitHub template example. Here it's choosing the Central India because that VM was created in Central India. So that's why you see the Central India as default region here. We can specify the resource group. Let's say your custom VM. Okay, and these namings are not so user friendly here. So this is something where you can go and edit these names in the ARM template itself to make it more useful while reading. So what it is asking for is extensions Microsoft Insights VM Diagnostics settings underscore XML. So this is not at all clear what it is doing. It is asking for some configuration files. Let's understand this ARM template. Edit. Mm, Let me just take this and we can use Visual Studio to look into this ARM templates. Okay, let me open one JSON file, new file, and we'll copy paste our ARM template here, and let's save this as JSON file. Okay, so this is now formatted as JSON. Let me just close everything and just have this open. Okay, so schema and secure string, it's asking for some kind of secure string for these settings. Okay, this is storage account name. So this is so I've enabled certain extensions on my VM, so that is the reason you see this parameter list. So those extensions would require storage account, and that is the reason it is asking for the storage account name, key, and endpoint, and some XML configuration. So if I take you to my virtual machine through which I have created this ARM template, under this, you go to extensions tab here. In fact, if I go to diagnostics, diagnostic settings, here I have this agent, diagnostic data agent is being sent to this storage account. So this storage account details I need to provide here. So since I'm creating a new VM out of these templates, so this is it is asking the storage account details, all the parameters. So this is listed as a parameter. So that's why it's asking for the storage account which you want to create uh, for deploying this VM. The name again, so the name, it has default name, it has given my virtual machine name, and the disk, OS disk, again it is given my OS disk. So these are some things that we need to modify after we export the templates to make it generic so that any user can use this template and deploy a VM. Right, so we will understand this in detail later on, but just to make you uh, what are the different options we have in Azure portal as well as elsewhere to get these templates from. Okay, so you don't have to create anything from the scratch. You will have these templates. Now, once you have these templates, you just need to understand which all parts you need to edit, and then edit those parts and then generalize it in a way that you can reuse that templates again and again. Any questions so far? Ali, if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
No, Vishwa, I don't have any questions as of now.
Okay, are you able to follow up?
I'm trying to. I'm trying to.
Okay, fine. Okay, so let's go back to the portal. Okay, so here ARM templates. Right. So this might look overwhelming at the first place, but yeah. So any new thing, if you try learning for the first time, it looks overwhelming. But once you practice it, it things becomes clear. So I would encourage you to go and practice these ARM templates. You don't need to create one. You can just go and create any resource in portal, and then go and take a look at that export template option in the Azure portal and try to relate that, see the structure of it and see what different parameters, variables, and configurations that goes into creating that resource in Azure portal. So virtual machine is a complex resource. It needs different dependent resources to be created first. So it might look complex, but if you take a look at very simple thing like here, the route, the storage account, right? Let's look at the storage account ARM templates. Okay, so again, we have these parameters. In these parameters, we are just asking for the name of the storage account here. That's all. Then in the variables, we don't have in the resources. In the store, we are only creating storage account. It doesn't have any dependent resources to be created. So this is pretty straightforward storage accounts. Then these are the different configurations you need to provide or different parameters you need to provide to create the storage account. The location is pretty straightforward. The kind of SKU. So this is something like you can create standard storage account, premium storage account. So standard ones uses HDD. The premium will use SDD. The more costlier ones for higher performance. Okay, and then we have do you want the storage account to be encrypted? So by default, the encryption is enabled on your storage account. So that settings you see here. Okay, so these all properties are there. What we need to understand is the values that goes into those properties, and these values and the property names should sound similar to you when you are actually going and creating that in the Azure portal itself. For example, when we looked at virtual machine creation in Azure portal, the different parameters that it asked for, the name, location, the disk, the size of the VM, the network interface name, all those are the common parameters. Again, you can relate to here. If you see the name, you should be able to relate that parameter. Okay, so that's ARM template. I won't go in too much detail into it today. So that's about it from the ARM template perspective. Once you practice, and then we in the next session we will go a little deeper and try to modify certain things and redeploy, make it generalize, and then redeploy it again and again. See how that works. Okay. So that's ARM template. Then the other ways we have is using Azure SDKs. So before I jump in there, Okay. Can any one of you name different options we have today to provision resources in Azure portal in Azure today? Hello? Shrikant, do you have any idea on what different options we have today to provision resources?
I'm sorry.
So,
Can you come again with the question again?
yeah. So see, we can create resources in Azure today, right?
Yeah,
There are
okay. We
multiple
can
ways
create.
we can create resources today. One of the ways,
Okay.
the very first in the demo we saw the Azure portal through which you can create virtual machines. What are the
Yes. Yeah.
different
Yes.
avenues like that which are available in Azure platform to create
I
resources?
mean, while you're creating resource group itself, you can create a resource. You can build it that way.
So you can create using Azure portal. What are the
One
other
way.
avenues?
And a command. I mean, I never tried with the other command prompts, but we can do that as well. We can simply, give the parameters in the GUI and collect the through command prompt, and you can paste it as well through JSON.
Yeah, so that JSON is what we call that JSON. That is ARM template, right? That's what we went through.
Okay.
ARM
And the
template
rest
is
of
that.
the things I never tried.
Yeah, so ARM template is that JSON structure where you give the types of resources you want to create in this JSON format and then submit it to Azure ARM APIs and it will go and create that resources. So this is one avenue. That's what we are discussing as part of this module. If you see different avenues, we discussed PowerShell. We can create Azure resources using PowerShell. That's what you were pointing to, I guess, when you said command and prompts. PowerShell, then Azure
Yes.
CLI Bash.
And CLI.
Yes, CLI Bash is the other avenue. ARM templates we discussed. This is another avenue. What are the other tools?
And SDKs.
SDKs, that is basically using the programming language itself, like C Sharp or Python or Ruby or Java. You can use these languages. There are certain SDKs available. If you use that SDK and this language, you can create Azure resources. So what is other last option which is available, which is the most important one? I'll give you a little hint. So that is the layer
Portal.
which, hello?
Portal. Azure portal.
Azure portal is there that we already talked. Okay. What is one more option which is available for you to create? That is the option behind the scenes. All this your tools will use the PowerShell, CLI, ARM templates. Even the Azure portal uses that option to create resources. At the end of the day, it is that this
Templates.
not templates. It is the REST API, ARM REST API,
Yeah. Yes.
right? So that what we discussed, ARM REST API. Using REST API, you can create resources. So all these tools are an abstraction on top of that REST API. Okay. So behind the scenes, if you give this template to the Azure portal today, right, to deploy, it will convert this, it will give this as an input to the ARM APIs, REST APIs. So ARM REST APIs will take this and then as an input and then will create the resources. PowerShell will take this, will convert these commands into REST API, REST APIs, and then REST APIs will go and provision your resources. Even the CLI Bash will convert all these things into REST API. The Azure SDK will also do the same. That is the last level on the Azure Fabric, basically, I would say, which hosts these ARM APIs, which will go and create these resources for you in the portal. So, what as a developer or as an administrator or let's say you need to understand is mostly the ARM templates and the PowerShell. The REST API, if you're a developer, mostly even if you're a developer, most of the times you will not deal with those REST APIs. You'll deal with Azure SDKs or PowerShell only to deploy your resources. But as an administrator or uh, as a DevOps guy, you would deal with these ARM templates and PowerShell. Okay. So for today's session, what I would like you to take away is, the structure of ARM template, and what are the different avenues available for you guys to get these templates, ARM templates from. Okay, so you don't have to go and recreate these ARM templates from the scratch. And then you have to understand what this each section within the ARM templates does. Okay, so take it step by step. Once you understand this structure, try understanding what parameters it's. Try playing with parameters. Try giving different parameters, uh, and take that template and try editing that parameter sections. So like we are right. So let's say you want to create a parameter. So we have these parameters, right? So we don't want these parameters. So we can go and delete these parameters. Extensions is something optional. It's not something mandatory. So we can delete this. So try editing these templates. So if you need to understand JSON for this, okay? If you understand JSON, then you can edit this in a simple way. So JSON is how many of you know JSON? That is a basic understanding you need to have to edit these templates. Ali, you have any background on JSON?
No, Vishwa, I don't have.
Yeah, I think then it will
He
be.
is completely non-technical. He is
I'm completely into non-technical, Vishwa, as I told you.
he he is trying
Yes.
to.
So
I seen JSON, but I kind of understand little bit, but not so much. Uh, JSON is like completely Java, right?
no, it is not Java. So if you know text, right? Have you ever dealt with the XML files?
No, no.
No XML files?
HTML, XML, right? You want to say?
XML file you have not dealt with. Okay. Any
No, no.
any no, I mean any delimited files in Notepad. So you see in Excel, uh, you just provide, this name value pairs. You can just provide name like you when you capture certain things, right? Let's say you are trying to capture, you're doing a survey and you are capturing certain details for that survey, like the name of the person and all that. So how would you capture those details in Excel? You will have different columns, right? Name column would be there, surname column, the address column, the email address, phone number, those will be different columns. And under those columns, you will try to capture the values for different people, the actual names, the phone number. So that's the structure you are defining there, right? Are you able to follow me?
Yes.
Okay, so to understand JSON, you need to understand, okay, this is nothing but another structure, just like an Excel or a Notepad or delimited value. It is just another structure that you can define, but it is more flexible with respect. Not the Excel is more for the humans to understand it. JSON is more for the application of the system because they understand the JSON XML very well, the structures. So Excel, you would say name, surname. What you're defining is the structure of your data here, right? You're just what data you want to capture, address, then phone number, and let's say email. And then you actually capture the values here, like Clevash, Nath, Halley, different values here. So what are these? Basically, this you have defined the structure and you are trying to capture the values for that structure now. So similarly, this is for us because we can visually see this and then understand the structure very easy. But for applications, they need to, for them to understand structure, JSON is one easy way for them because if you see here as well, the how it is structured is it is a key value pair. So you have a key called schema. So try to correlate that with the name here. Okay, so instead of name, let's me type here schema. Schema is one. Okay, and then content version. Okay, and then you have parameters. These are high level, so it can be complex structure as well. For example, I have address, right? So I'll say address itself has many different fields within itself. So what I'll do is I'll go and create address. I'll just create some address ID here, and then say give me the the society name, then road name, then pin code. Okay, and then let's say the state and everything. So the structure of address itself is like it will require these four fields. Now instead of you so you can have another, you can define that in another sheet, or you can define it here itself. But for defining it here, you need to define it another level. These are all fields which are child of this address. What we will do is we can simply merge this into one minute. Let me just do that here. So this is the simplest way I'm trying to explain how the JSON is structured. So if I say merge here, okay, this is the address. Okay, so think of our ARM templates here like that. So you have this schema, content version, parameters, and then parameter itself has different values like the machine name, disk name, and there are certain parameters. So those you can think of this as a parameters. Okay, which is like a parent, and it has some child parameters within that. Okay, similarly, you will see for variables, again, variables is there. If you have any variables, you define that variables here. And this in turn, if your, let's say, state itself, you can divide that into a district, or, which municipal location or district, and that also you can do it. So this is how the hierarchy is defined, or the structure for your data model is defined in Excel. The same way it is, therefore, for applications, it is JSON here. So you provide this key value pair. In JSON, what you do is you just have this key value pair. So key and value both are defined in the quotes. So I would say name here and then colon, and the value, the name would be here, let's say Azure. So likewise, you just go on defining the different structure here. So name and then product. Let's say product is VM, something like that, and then then you provide the size. This is how you define. This is the simplest form of JSON. You key and the value for that key. So key value pair, you define it, and you keep that under this curly braces. Okay, and this size, let me define something as size is at standard B1. Okay, and then so we'll say it depends on this, as so depends on resources, right? We saw this tag there. So this depends on again, this depends on you can, if it has multiple child parameters, you again need to define this curly braces. It's like a JSON under a JSON, and then you define the child parameters like this, again key value pairs. Okay, so this is how you define the hierarchy and the structure of JSON. So if I have to take this and I remove, let's say, and I did this in Notepad, you will get a similar structure to this what we have discussed. Okay, let me just remove all these values, then you will become, so see, this is one key dollar schema, and then we have the value for that schema. So if I just remove value here, and it is between the quotes, right? If I just remove this content, you will understand the structure. So this is parameters. Okay, again a key, and the value for this key is again a one more JSON. So you have to specify that in this format. Again, this itself has child elements. So again a JSON. So JSON under a JSON. See, you will get this structure only. So key and the value. If it's a simple text, it will be under double quotes. If it's the value itself has multiple child elements, then you again define that curly braces. Right. So let me delete this everything else. Everything else will also be in the same format. Okay. If we design this, if we indent this properly, you'll understand where it ends. Okay. Yeah. So this is how it is structured. See, key value, key value, key, and the value itself is another complex JSON. So this is the value, and that again has key and some value. That value is again a JSON. It's a complex structure. Then again a key and a value. Okay. And then if you have multiple key value, then you separate that with a comma. Then again a key and the value. Value is again here. And let me define. Okay. So this is how the JSON is basically. Okay, this is what you will see. So this hierarchy can go on till the, I mean, as many levels as it can go, depending upon the type of object that you are defining. So this is at the simplest level, the JSON structure looks like. It's not big deal. And if you have, multiple values, like say my, if I want to capture multiple names, so this is one, then I can provide an array is here itself. So array, I can provide that array. I can put this in an array here. So array you can define using these brackets. So let me put that under brackets again, one bracket here like this. Again brackets like here. So this is how you define multiple values. If it has multiple values, then you define that here like this. That is what you see here. Under here, I again define some values. So if I just delete everything here and just keep one, this is difficult to edit here, so this is becomes easier here. So if I just okay, and remove this all and just keep name. Okay, parameters, resources, if you go dig deeper here. Okay, so resources at the high level, you have this virtual machines, version, name, location. Now properties is again a complex object, so if you expand, you will have different properties there like this. So you have this many properties. The values of these properties is again some complex thing. So it has again VM size. This is how JSON is structured, right? So it's a similar representation. I can give it in Excel like this. You have schema, content version, and then the parameters. The parameters itself has, this many values. And let's say society name itself has again two more things. So you'll again, split this into two different columns like that. So that's how you define the hierarchy here. So look at some articles on JSON. This is the basic that we need to understand before we even understand ARM templates. If you understand JSON, then only you can go and edit the JSON. Did that help you? Ali?
Yeah, Vishwa.
Yeah, what about others? Others, I
I'm
think
good.
since you are
I'm good.
already in the fields, you would understand this JSON, I hope.
Yes, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Shrinu, I think you have 16 years of experience, you would understand that better. Yeah. But these are some, very basic concepts that we need to understand. If you have to understand ARM templates, or for that matter, even PowerShell or CLI. If you know certain programming languages, the basics of it, like in our engineering, if you've gone through C or C++, those languages, Java for that matter, this should be pretty easy to, it will help you to, fast track your learning on these tools. So, Harry, the only recommendation I have for you, since you are very basic and non-technical, go and practice as much as possible. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to keep up with the pace of this uh, course content. Yeah, we can help you wherever I mean, to understand those basics. But practice is the only way that you can get hold of these subjects.
Yes.
Yeah, so try as much as practicing as possible. And then any questions, we are there to help you out. Okay, so that's ARM templates. And let's look at our course content once. So what I will do is, instead of spending time in Azure SDKs, that I'll just in the next session I will go through, give you a brief overview. We will spend most of our time in ARM templates only. So next session we will go through some uh, editing of ARM templates. We'll edit a template. We will then make it generalize and then deploy that template. So we'll generalize in such a way that even if I give the template to you, you can go and deploy that in your own Azure subscription. So we will try to look at how we can, generalize so that it can be shared across to the people, like we have it in our GitHub repository here, right? So that will give us the foundation for the rest of the courses. Okay, so PowerShell. So this was the programming foundation. So once we are done with this, then we'll start with virtual machines. I think virtual machines, some of the concepts we all have already gone through, so that will really help you to go through this course as well. This is a long course, 6 hours. Okay, we will cover different aspects of virtual machines there. Something called as scaling, and how we can design and implement storage. Storage we have not yet seen. How can we customize storage for the virtual machines? We look at that. Then we look at monitoring of virtual machines. Then we'll make sure that our virtual machines are highly available, so that if one goes down, the second virtual machine can take over the load of or the traffic. And we'll look at backup and recovery there. A lot of things to cover in virtual machines. Yeah, but before we jump there, make sure we are good with this PowerShell and the ARM templates here for the list. Okay, so Hallie, just go over and then just understand the JSON. I mean, there are many. If I go here, right, JSON,
Mhm.
search for JSON here. That's all. And then there are W3 schools. I will highly recommend you to go through this W3 schools JSON. This will, and there are a lot of examples that you can practice here as well.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, so this will get you up started.
Anyhow, I'll call you sometime later in the evening. I have couple of questions regarding the creation of the templates and all. So it was like I'll call you sometime in the evening when I get free. So it was like anyhow, like I'm not working today. So I'll be calling somewhere around in the
We still have half an hour left.
evening. Will that be fine? Will that work you?
Yeah, that should be fine. But I'm saying we still have half an hour left. If there is any question that I can attend
Yeah,
to your,
actually, I'm trying to. I mean, like my Azure account, I'm not sure like it has been created or not. Every time when I try to sign in, it's still showing the same page
what it is showing.
with the earlier day which we have. I mean, I show you right. It's like
Okay, so
one
fine.
second.
Yeah. Uh, we'll look into that separately. Anyone else has any questions on ARM template so far what we have covered? Srikanth, were you able to follow?
Yes, Vishnu.
Yeah, nice. Rakesh, I know he's very vocal. Srinu is a bit silent guy. Srinu, what about you? I can't hear you, Srinu, if you're speaking. Okay, that's fine. Hello. Okay, so again, I would say to don't get too intimidated by this ARM templates, the complex structure that we have seen for virtual machines. It's pretty simple if you understand the basics here. When I say the basics, what I mean is, I again this I already went through this thing in my last couple of sessions to in the PowerShell module. So to understand to learn Azure, there is a way actually you can learn it in a very simple way. Let's say VM, we are trying to provision using ARM template. So what all things go into the VM? First, you need to understand that part. So that you can understand by going to the Azure portal itself. So the experience would be similar, right? If you go through Portal or PowerShell or this, the language could be different, the structure could be different, but the whole concept will remain the same. It's not going to be different. So when I create VM, I would need different resources to be available for to create a VM. Like I would need VM or different configurations. Like I would need the VM name, I would need the location under which I need to create. So if you understand this part, what configuration and what different resources I need to create create a VM, then it will be easier for you to relate those things with the PowerShell commands or these bash commands or even the ARM storage, these ARM templates. Right? You will see the similar things there. You will see the VM name, location, you would see the public IP, that is again something you need to have for VM. You need to have the OS operating system, which kind of operating system you want. You need to have the virtual network to be there, and these are basic things. So if you relate with your own laptop also or desktop also, what different components it has, these are some simple things that you will come up. It's no different there in Azure. So virtual network, then virtual, if you have virtual network, you need a secure NIC card, network interface card to communicate on that virtual network. Then you need, since it's on the public, you need to make sure your virtual machine is secure. You need to allow certain traffic on your firewall. So for that firewall is nothing but NSG there, network security groups. So you need that. Then under network security group, you are going to define some traffic rules which should be allowed to your virtual machine, some traffic rules which should be denied. So some traffic rules which you would need is, RDP, because to connect to a remote virtual machine, you need to connect using RDP. Like when I say RDP, I'm talking about this MSTSC, this remote desktop connection. Provide the IP address or the name of the virtual machine, and then you can connect to that virtual machine. So that RDP port needs to be open. So RDP port, like ideally it is 3389 for Windows. For Linux, it would be SSH port, right? So yeah, so these are the things you would need. Then you would need OS disk. That I think since you provide the OS name, so that automatically comes up. Yeah, what else you want need? Yeah, so if you try to understand from this perspective, right, and then it is very easy to correlate those things in your ARM templates or PowerShell commands. And going back here, right? So same thing, the username and password we talked about. See the resources here. These are the variables. Variables again, it will be network interface name, OS disk type, the address prefix which is needed for virtual machines, right? So once you do this 2 or 3 times, couple of times, then it becomes very it will come naturally to you whenever you create virtual machine using ARM template. That, yeah, these are the parameters I need to give. So the practice is the only key. You need to practice that thing. So if you see virtual machines, it has name, location, then it depends on network interface. Then it has some profiles like what the size of the VMs. Similar, right? If you are creating a VM, you need to provide the size today. So that size, OS disk. Okay, the only thing that would differ is the structure of it. So OS disk needs to be under storage profile. That is something very specific to the ARM templates. You won't see this in PowerShell here. Image, like if you're creating Ubuntu server, which version of Ubuntu server you want to create. Network profiles, it is network interface. Admin username, some credentials you need to have to log into the VM, the username, password, the computer name. That's all for the virtual machines. So simple as that. So this is how you go about it. To learn. Okay, don't go on the length of this template. It might seem very huge, but at the end, it is all what all it is asking is similar to what all it is asking in the Azure portal when you're creating virtual machine. Nothing apart from that. Okay, so yeah, I think I would like to end on that note. This link is there, and this PPT is also available in the Azure Teams. So if you log into Teams today, uh, you go to Teams, you would land up under some Technify general thing you would see. So these PPTs I've attached there. Uh, Module 2, you can download these PPTs, okay? And recordings would be available here under Files tab. If you go, the recordings of previous sessions like Module 2 Part 2 is available here. Training Day 2, this is again the one recording. So Hali and Shrikant, I would encourage you to go through these recordings that we have done for previous sessions on the PowerShell and CLI. Which will make it
I already
easily.
downloaded all those.
Shrikant, you downloaded this?
Yes, I already downloaded all those.
Okay.
I'll watch it. I was thinking of watch today's session and then start from the beginning again. Since it's just 3 videos uploaded.
Yeah, just couple of videos in. So one recording is not available. I didn't record that session, but I'll cover that up for both of you guys
Yeah.
separately. But before that, I would encourage you to go through these things, and then we'll cover that session. Very big day.
Okay.
Okay. Okay then. So yeah. I hope it was not too overwhelming. I just kept on repeating these things again and again on the ARM templates instead of going deeper because I don't want to just rush through the things and complete the that module. I just want you to understand those things, practice them, get hands-on. Once you become comfortable with that, then we will move on to the next
Wish.
sessions.
Okay, Vishwa. One more thing. So how many days is the class?
So total 45 hours is what we have planned, Shrikant. Out of which I think we have
Okay.
already covered this 4 and yeah 5 hours only we have covered. So 40 hours are still remaining. So this the entire this is shared with you, right? This file which described the course content. You have this
The
file?
demo session I didn't attend. The
Yeah,
demo one I didn't attend.
Yes, the same thing
I
only.
believe that one you covered everything. Those for the first session, first module.
Hmm. Do you have this? So this is our course constant. This is what we are going to cover as part of this foundation level.
No, that I have.
You have it, right? Yeah. And this will, we have actually given the hours as well here for each of these course sections here. Yeah. So this comes around 45 hours, I think 48, 45, between 45 and 50, I guess. Yeah. So there are a lot of things we have to cover. We are just getting started, guys. So programming foundation, then virtual machines. We look at virtual networks. Virtual network itself is a very deep topic. So then we have Azure storage, which is again the fundamentals related.
One more thing, Vishwa. I want just a quick suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm attending the first session, I mean, I'm not sure this is how the process is going on. I mean, I would suggest go through the theoretical part first, and then explain that in the implementation with the command prompt. That way, it will be helpful as while you mix and explain and do it in the command prompt at the same time. That will be again confusion, right?
Yeah, so that's
You
how we
understand what I
always,
said, right?
yeah, so that's how we did it. So if we go through this, right, PowerShell, I just explained, if you
Mhm.
even see here, right, let me just open the PowerShell, this module one. So we went through the theory first to understand the basics of PowerShell, and then we jumped into the commandlets and the practice or hands-on session there. If I go there, where is that PPT? Got it open. This part two is already the part one. Yeah. See, here we went through, basics of PowerShell, like how the PowerShell commands are structured today, verb and noun, what is verb and what is noun. And then we went through different features of PowerShell, like the output is object-based, and this is built on top of .NET. So what are the advantages? So once you know, okay, but it is built on top of .NET, it becomes clear that it is extensible. If it is extensible, that means you can create your own set of PowerShell commandlets in .NET, and then you can host that in PowerShell. You can import that in the PowerShell and use that. So these were some of the basics we covered here in the theory sessions there. ARM templates as well we covered here. And once we went through this, that is when each of this, then we are doing now the hands-on session for each. How do you, is this what you are looking for?
Yes, yes. I mean, I just suggested because I didn't know how the classes was going on. I didn't attend the before two classes, right? So I kind of suggested.
Right, yeah. So
Since you're going in the same way, that's fine.
yeah, we are actually going in a similar way. Since we have already understood the theory part and everything, so we went with so what you're seeing today is the more of the practicals. Yeah, but once you look at those two recordings, you will understand how we are going through
Yes,
the
yes.
process. Okay. Okay, then. So yeah, we can end the session here now if there are no questions. And Hali, yeah, you can touch base in the evening whenever you have time. We can look at that Azure account.
Sure, we shall do that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then. Bye, guys. Let me stop the recording.
Bye.
Yeah.